shot, Babu. The Facebook game is in the building.
Into the end zone! Five Nations, stand up!
Hope y'all been having a blessed Monday. Hope y'all getting the week started off right. We did the AFC South, NFC South, AFC East, NFC East, AFC North, and now we in the NFC Chris Berman North Division. Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings. When I see NFC North, I just think cold weather and like 10 degrees or something with snow and the ground look hard. Statman, what it do? Statman, you supposed to spam your own sticker. You got your own sticker. You supposed to spam it. All right. Now, just how it was with the AFC North, how we had to do it a little different. NFC North gonna be a little bit different too. We're gonna switch it up. When you think about who had the best offseason in the NFC North, Ben Johnson leaving the Lions, shaking the Lions up, flipping the Bears. Caleb Williams was a bust, right? No, Bears win the division. But what happened last year in this division? Injuries plagued this division. This is a division where it's not about who had the best offseason. It's about who can be healthy. Who's taking care of their body. Green Bay Packers, monster trade with the Dallas Cowboys to get Micah Parsons. And then he gets hurt. Love going crazy. Then he gets hurt. Minnesota Vikings had Sam Darnold, Super Bowl champion Sam Darnold, had Danny Dimes, and they had the injury prone JJ McCarthy. Nine. And then what happened? They fall off a cliff. They get fleeced in this trade during draft night for Jonathan Grenard. They can't afford their players and they down bad. Then you got the Detroit Lions, who was the craziest NFL football player I've ever seen. With the Steelers, Jared Goff throws a pass. The ball gets lateral. Jared Goff jumps in the end zone, but they call a flag saying St. Brown pushed off for the catch. Game ends. It's one of the craziest endings to a game I ever seen. Lions season's over. Boom. Montgomery's gone to the Texans. Now the Lions are starting to have to pay like they weigh for the Matthew Stafford trade, where they had like a gazillion first round picks. Seemed like they had half a decade worth of first round picks from the Rams, and now it's starting to come back to where you seen the Rams had 2 first round picks this year, but then here the Lions having to start pay their guys. Can Aiden Hutchinson stay healthy? Can they keep their star players on the field? And then when you're getting down to the Chicago Bears, is nobody expected it last year. Now they lost a few key players, Kevin Byard, Nashawn Wright. They lost a few people on the defense. You trade DJ Moore to the Buffalo Bills. You get draft picks back. They've been reshuffling ever since they made the trade with the Panthers for Bryce Young. That pick turned into Caleb Williams. It turned into Luther Burden. It turned into their starting right tackle. The Bears have been living off of that trade. And now this division has come to a crossroads where it's wide open. Who can get healthy? I love the Vikings coach. I love LaFleur, former Tennessee Titan legend, coach of the Green Bay Packers. Dan Campbell, we love him in Detroit. And then we love Ben Johnson and Chicago. I like this division has all. It's like coaching is not the reason why this division is not winning. All right. So let me get into who I think had the worst offseason by default. And then the other 3 is just who can be the healthiest, right? Minnesota Vikings. Y'all know how I felt about them getting rid of Sam Darnold and Danny Dimes. And let me go back to the big screen first. I had some people that was trying to roast me a few years ago. Yeah, JJ McCarthy is worthy of multiple first round picks. You would much rather have JJ McCarthy in a 2 first round pick trade than get Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward or Jackson Dart or Milroe. And then what happens? It's been an epic fail. Sam Darnold's already won a Super Bowl, and Danny Dimes was 8-1 with the Colts last year before his untimely injury. So let's get into what the offseason really entails. I told y'all that the Vikings was going to trade for Kyler Murray way before anybody ever mentioned it, because I said there's no way that O'Connell can come in believing that J.J. McCarthy is going to get it done. Carson Wentz is cooked. He's popped. And Max Brosmer is Max Brosmer, right? You got Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, Justin Jefferson, who I think is the better comp for Carnell Tate. I think Carnell Tate is more like Justin Jefferson and Devontae Adams. That's my comp for him. Jordan Addison, can he stay out of his off the field issues? Ty Felton, Dylan Bell, a good receiver from Georgia they got in the draft. They need a little bit more depth and more playmakers on offense. TJ Hawkinson, really good tight end. Oliver, Darisaw, Will Freeze. That offensive line, But I think it can get the job done. When you get to their defense, this is where the problem lies. Let me tell y'all something. Theo Jackson was a late round draft pick of the Tennessee Titans. No disrespect to Theo Jackson, really good guy. But if they got Theo Jackson and Harrison Smith is finally done with football, and you look over here and see that they lost Jonathan Grenard for 2 third-round picks, you got Van Ginkel. They drafted Caleb Banks. You got Dallas Turner, Alabama Crimson Tide Goon, Metellus. I just don't see enough on this roster to make me think that they can compete. But I just don't think with the other 3 teams in the division, I really don't think they got a legitimate shot. But I think Kyler Murray gives them a chance to have a new identity and to try to restart. Let's look at their draft class. Caleb Banks, Jake Golday, Dominique Orange, Caleb Tiernan, Jacoby Thomas, safety out of Miami, Mac Breslin, tight end out of Michigan, Charles Demon, cornerback from Stephen F. Austin, Damon Claiborne, running back from Wake Forest, and center Gavin Gerhardt from St. Bro, look, this draft is forgettable. When I watched them draft on draft day, I just thinking like, yeah, Caleb Banks is good for trench warfare. And Jake Golday may turn into a good linebacker, but man, they got a lot of holes that they got to fill. And losing Grenard and nothing of note return on this draft pick. We'll see what it does next year. B Walker, what it do, player? But yeah, Vikings definitely definitely had the worst offseason of and I think they're gonna wind up getting. If they're not careful, they're gonna get a really good coach fired in Minnesota. All right. Next, by default, second worst offseason I'm gonna say is the Green Bay Packers. Why? Because you wind up having Malik Willis leave, Tyrod Taylor's there. Can Jordan Love stay healthy? Josh Jacobs, have they really ever got all the money back and the production out of him that they wanted when they traded for him? Christian Watson, can he stay on the field? Matthew Golden, underwhelming rookie year. Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs and Wicks are gone. You pick up Sky Moore, Bo Melton. A lot of guys going to be asked to do more than what they have. Can Kraft stay healthy? With Musgrave, Josh Wiley, I like their tight end room. You lose Elton Jenkins. Some of the longtime offensive linemen in Green Bay are now gone. And then when you look on the defense, they did bring in Zaire Franklin, veteran linebacker. You're going to have Micah Parsons back. You got Hargrave. Secondary, which is pretty good last year. I think they made some moves, and then they had to try to get out of that. You got Brandon Sis, and in the draft, Kayshawn Nixon. I like him. Xavier McKinney, veteran. Valentine and Bullard. Damani Jackson, they picked up from Bama. I think the Packers always do a good job of like shuffling in new faces and getting the job done. They got one of the league's best coaches in LaFleur. Let's check out their draft though. I gotta keep them down here because you don't have a first round pick, and then Parsons got hurt. Can he come back? Can he stay off a podcast, running his mouth, and actually produce on the NFL football field? You got Sis, McClellan, Dennis Sutton, who I really like out of Penn State. Burden, center from Kentucky, Damani Jackson. Can they groom him? He's got all the physical talent. Can they groom Damani Jackson into a rotational corner for them, and then place kicker out of Florida, Trey Smack. I can't look at that and say that this draft class, however a decent draft class, I can't legitimately say that like, oh, the Packers knocked it out the park this offseason, because they didn't. Let's see if they can get healthy with the players they got, the veterans, and put it back together to compete in the NFC North division. All right. Next, I got the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, they replaced Montgomery with Isaiah Pacheco, so we're not mad there. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Tesla, we know what they got there. Kendrick Law, who played on a gazillion different teams in college, got a lot of talent and speed. Can they rotate him in? You got Laporta that needs to get back healthy, and Tyler Conklin. You got two really good tight ends, and then they move Penny Sewell and draft Blake Miller. You got Tate Relish, Cake Mays. Always like the offensive line with Dan Campbell. Can Hutchinson get back healthy? They've been trying every edge rusher on earth to try to have some depth up front on their defensive line. DJ Reader is out. They got a lot of holes to fill up front. Can they stay healthy there? You like Barnes, Campbell, and Rodriguez. They drafted Roller. Can Brian Branch, Joseph, Terrion Arnold, some really star secondary players, can they get healthy? This has been the name of the game in this division. Can they get healthy? Picked up nickelback free agent, Tennessee Titan legend Roger McCurry, as well as draft Keith Abney, bring in Avonte Maddox, Chuck Clark, bringing in some veteran guys to try to shore back up. But, you know, just like the Green Bay Packers, like, can the Lions be healthy? I think these teams are really dead even in what their offseason entailed. But because the Packers didn't have a first round pick and Blake Miller, one of the better tackles in the draft, the Lions picked up from Clemson Derek Moore, edge out of Michigan. They really love those Michigan edges, don't they? Roller, another linebacker out of Michigan. Keith Abney, who I was surprised that Keith Abney fell this far in the draft. I really like his ability. Cornerback out of Arizona State. Kendrick Law, who started, and I think he went from Bama to, he went to a few different teams, but Kendrick Law, a speedster. That's the MO that they have in Detroit. Gil Howard, D tackle out of Texas Tech, and edge Tyree West out of Tennessee. Nothing flashy, but just for the fact that, you know, they still had their first round pick. You know, you got to give them the edge over the Packers in the draft, but not any real big moves brought in other than them trying to get healthy. I mean, Brian Branch, Joseph, and Arnold, I mean, these are studs in the secondary, but can they be healthy? Can Aiden Hutchinson be healthy? Can they replace DJ Reed? We're going to find out. So I'm going to say that Green Bay and Detroit's offseason were very, very even. I'm not going to say either one of them was good. Can they get healthy? Bringing in offensive coordinator from the Cardinals to try to get that offense moving in the right direction. I like the Pacheco pickup, though. Because, you know, they got to have that 1-2 punch in the backfield. So much goes through Jahmyr Gibbs. And then the Chicago Bears. I like the draft. They're not dealing, you know, with all the injuries that some of the other teams in the division are dealing with. You know, bringing in Bryant, drafting Thieneman, Malik Muhammad from Texas, cornerback. I think they did a pretty good job of trying to fill in some of the holes that they had on the defense that moved on after last year. Caleb Williams in year three, Kyle Bonunga and DeAndre Swift, a good 1-2 punch in the backfield. Rome Odunze, they're going to need more from him, and Luther Burden. Bringing in special team superstar Khalif Raymond in the slot. Let's see if, but I like Ben Johnson's offense though. So Bears have been living off of the trades, having extra draft picks. Now they're not coming out of left field. They're going to be expected, and people are going to be watching them from the gate. But I really like Dylan Thieneman, losing Kevin Byard, having somebody like this, a ball hawk with the athleticism that he has. He puts me in that Cooper DeJean mode playing safety. Logan Jones, plug and play center from Iowa. Sam Roush, tight end from Sanford. Xavion Thomas, speedster wide receiver out of LSU. Malik Muhammad. I thought he fell a little bit in the draft. Cornerback out of Texas, like him a pretty good bit. He was on a lot of my boards. Keshawn Elliott, linebacker from Arizona State, and Vandenberg, D tackle out of Georgia Tech. So I'm gonna say like the Bears kind of win by default. You know, they had a pretty good draft. They was to replace a couple of players, and they're not dealing with wondering about who's gonna be healthy when this new year starts. So this is a wide open division in my mind. There's still moves to be made. I think these are teams that are competitive. I think, you know, picking up a couple free agents here or there wouldn't hurt any of these rosters. But I don't see a clear-cut favorite in this division. I think I like all the coaches. I think it's truly going to come down to, in Chicago, of Chicago, Detroit, Green Bay, and the Vikings in the NFC North, of who can stay healthy, who can add a few more veteran pieces to shore up their roster, because this is an injury-plagued division last year. And, you know, I don't see a favorite in this division. I just don't. I can see every team taking a step forward, and I can see every team taking a step back. I think they're going to be a lot like the NFC South division, where they're going to beat up on each other, and it's going to be a small margin that winds up winning this division. But if I had to put my hat in the ring right now, it would be the Bears, because they're dealing with less injury. And then in Minnesota, you know, the quarterback controversy between Kyler Murray and in 9, you know, because you let Justin Jefferson go out there with nobody to throw the ball to him for another season, and he's gonna want out. He's gonna want to leave. You know, and the Green Bay Packers have to sit and think like, you know, was the Micah Parsons trade worth it? You know, he's gonna have to pay like he weighed this year. Some of those guys that they drafted, Matthew Golden, Christian Watson, they're gonna have to show up and play some real football. Josh Jacobs, they're gonna be healthy all season and produce. Just like the Detroit Lions, like you're gonna need all those first round picks that they've had over the last few years. That they're gonna have to step up and play some ball. And the offensive coordinator coming in from the Cardinals is gonna have to. I think it's Petzik is gonna have to come in and really get it together. Lyle was popping, so y'all did good. See the second overall pick in. You talking about for the Tennessee Titans second overall pick? Or you talking about the second overall pick in the draft, period? I've been going division by division. What's good, Lyle? Hope you're doing good. Hope the family been doing good. We've done AFC South, NFC South, AFC East, NFC East, AFC North, and now we're on the NFC North. Overall in the draft, David Bailey out of Texas Tech. I felt like once the news came out about Ruben Baines' pass, I think it kind of further solidified that like David Bailey was like the most today, right now, ready edge rusher. I think last year looking at potential of Abdul Carter, but seeing what's the guy from Atlanta last year? James Pierce Jr. That pure speed off the edge is what a lot of teams are looking for. And, you know, you kind of felt like you knew Mendoza was going 1, then David Bailey going 2. The Jeremiah Love was the first pinfall to change, because everybody was expecting Arvell Reese to be the third pick, then Jeremiah Love. But definitely was a shakeup in the draft, man. Draft was fun this year. He said, you like that? Said that 8 months ago you was a doubter at first. I mean, I like Lee Hunter. I like the D tackle out of Texas Tech. Romello Height and David Bailey got the scream. I thought, you know, Lee Hunter to the Panthers and Monroe Freeland was some good pickups for the Panthers, because I think he's kind of an underrated D tackle. Then Jacob Rodriguez. Texas Tech really had a really good draft. I think most of like half the team for Texas Tech got drafted in this draft. Y'all school definitely did y'all thing in this draft. Ohio State, Texas Tech is some teams that really put some people into the league. It's also going to be good for their recruiting with all the coaching shakeups that y'all shown that y'all can put a whole group. Indiana too. Indiana had a lot of people drafted. There definitely was not the year that people was thinking that Indiana and Texas Tech is gonna put 10 people plus in the league off their rosters and have the seasons they had. So they paying folks. Hey, look, money talks. It's the NIL era, and it's definitely changed the landscape of college football. It's also changing the draft, where when you look at the amount of money Ohio State spent the year before, and them having 1, 2, 3, 4 guys go in the top 11. Obviously you always gonna have your Bamas and your Clemsons and LSU's is gonna put people in the league, but this year was definitely a shakeup. But y'all got any questions, man? AFC North and NFC North was kind of hard to do because I feel like these teams are so closely, densely packed together. And with the NFC North, you got 4 good coaches. The Packers didn't have a first round pick. I didn't think the Vikings had a good draft. The Lions and the Bears had solid drafts, but I didn't see much movement in this division free agent wise outside of the Vikings trading Grenard, which was a surprise during the draft for only 2 third-round picks. So definitely going to be interesting to see the NFC North division. And then tonight we're going to double back. Tonight we're going to do AFC West, and then tomorrow we'll do NFC West and finish up with that division because the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. So we're gonna have some fun with that, man. Bring y'all questions definitely tonight for AFC West. We're gonna go over the changes in that division and see who had the best offseason. That's what the whole purpose of this series is. It's been fun going division by division. Then when we get done with all the divisions, we'll go back and do our predictions, and then we'll start getting into some of the free agent guys that's left leading up into the June 1st cuts. We first getting our rookie mini camps out of the way. I don't want to be sitting here. Y'all don't care about Tennessee Titan rookie camp with the undrafted free agents. Y'all don't care about that stuff. So we definitely been having some fun going division to division, looking at the rosters and the draft classes from all the different divisions in the NFL. Hey, Vintage Titan been booming. I can't wait to drop some of the content on y'all later today. Dollar Day Monday in the thrift went crazy, and all the stuff I posted from the garage sale. I had something that I posted an hour ago. It's already sold on eBay. I'm finna go work out and then go to the post office to ship out some more stuff. I literally shipped out like 5 packages in 24 hours, and I uploaded a bunch of stuff today. We're almost up to 200 items, even with having a lot of sales this weekend. So appreciate y'all, man. Y'all great, man. Make sure y'all going back through YouTube, checking out every different division we've done. Like I said, we'll be back for AFC West tomorrow. We'll finish up with NFC West. Then we'll get into the overall predictions and picks of division winners. Then we'll get into the free agents that's still loose of guys that can help teams right now that are in a position like these teams in the NFC North who need a couple veteran guys to help fill out their roster. So appreciate y'all, man. God first in the chat. And y'all know what time it is, man. Hit that subscribe, like, comment, share. Tap into the daily uploads at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you missed the live streams, you got picture in picture. And if I don't get to any questions during the live streams or the pods, drop them in the comments. I'll make it part of the weekly mailbag. If you're following on the blue, smash those reactions. I know you're OG. Hit that like, comment, share, tap into the daily content that is the shop. If you're new to the shop, you definitely should be tapped in on the green. No ads, up to 50 emotes free for just being a follower. You do not have to be a supporter to unlock picture in picture, late night streams. Follow us on Kick. We also live on Twitch. Look out for the drops, as well as if you have Amazon Prime, it's free $99 to sub to the channel once a month. Don't let Jeff Bezos stick that money back in his pocket. If you don't use it on the shop, use it on another content creator that you like. I still call it Twitter. but follow us on X. We tweet back. Yo, if you missed the daily shop talks, make sure you tap in for the late night cap on the purple and the green. The Discord is always open. Outside of subs, donos, and cash apps, is also another way to support the content. That's by grabbing a trucker hat, a bandana, hoodies, the classic barbershop, Vibe Nation, right out of the official merch store on Tactic, formerly known as Geeks Unleashed. Code Buddha at checkout to get a